Hey, this is Jose Galison of No Way Jose. You can find me on the No Way Jose YouTube channel. I'm also just about anywhere podcasts are at. I'm on there. I'm on the Liberty Movement YouTube channel and BitChute as well. BitChute's been acting weird lately, though, so I've been able to upload. That I'm not entirely sure this one will go up in the Liberty Movement or not. We'll see how the conversation goes, because a lot of you guys know that is like especially for non-political cultural stuff. So only some of my episodes go up there. With that being said, it's starting to get to be a little bit handful. So if there's anyone out there who'd be interested in starting to take that over and run it, for those who are familiar with it, hit me up, the Liberty Movement Global at gmail.com. All right, moving on. My guest today is Typo from Biting the Bullet. And the topic we're going to talk about today is liberty messaging. Obviously, we'll probably talk about other shit as well. That's just going to kind of be the main topic. Also, give me fucking money. I'm always about that. Patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. You can give me crypto at endthefed.app. This will be coming out a week after this announcement I announced on Twitter. Is some people know, people know, I'm actually still active duty military. I'm getting out in a few months, and so things will start to get a little bit tighter. And I'm currently losing money doing this, which I don't mind right now. But in a few months, if that's still the case, which is really not asking much. I literally just need 3 more patrons and I'll be fucking breaking even. That's all I want, to not lose money. It's really hard to justify to my wife why the fuck I'm doing this if I'm wasting time and money. At least I'll just be wasting time. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring on Typo. Shoot the shit. Like I said, give me money so I fucking can keep doing this. Literally just need 3 patrons and I'll do this for goddamn forever. All right. All right. Let's go and bring on Typo. What's up, dude? Hear me begging for fucking money?
Yeah, man. That was one of the hardest things. We had our episodes for free for like the first 30, I think. Well, actually, all of our episodes are free. Every single one of them are free. What I mean is, like, we didn't start asking for money until like episode like 30 or 40. And we felt so weird about it. We were like, can you give us money? Because now we got all these subscriptions and like we want to get better equipment. Dude, when we started, we were recording out of a broken mic stand that Luke put in a boot, a Marine Corps boot. And he put it in the middle of a room on a stool. And it was me, Luke, and Jared just screaming into a fucking rigged boot mic. And that's how we started the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I didn't start. I don't remember when. It was like around 10 to 20-ish. But if anything, I wish I'd done it right from the beginning, because you'd be surprised how little people pay. Little people do it. It's only like the big dogs that really get the money. I'm not that I ever have any delusions of making big money or like even living off this. Like, I'm not gonna get rich or even be able to. This is at best I might be able to, I don't know, one day aspire to maybe being like a quarter or an eighth of my income. Like that would be. And that's like way down the road. Like right now, it's like I just want to not lose money. Like that'd be fucking cool. So because I got to pay for the StreamYard, and it's really not asking for much. But quick, let everybody know, if you guys hear some meowing, I have some little baby kitties to the side over here. A lot of you guys know my side business. I breed kitty cats. So fucking got multiple revenue streams is always a good move. So anyways, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know who you are, what you're about, all that good shit.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is I go by Typo. My real name is Tyler Brockhouse. I was originally from Illinois. I pretty much grew up in Southern Illinois until I was 18, and then I decided to join the Marine Corps. It kind of was like my family. Everyone in my family did it, so it seemed like the right thing for me. And then I got out of the Marine Corps I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and then I went to 29 Palms, California. And then in 2016 is when I I became more political. Maybe 15 is when Donald Trump started running. And that's kind of became more political. At least I started paying attention more. And then toward the end of probably about a year left of my Marine Corps career, that's when I kind of became way more interested in like libertarianism. Fucking Gary Johnson worked on me. I mean, I was saying that, fiscally conservative and socially liberal. I was telling all my friends and family that stuff. And, then, I mean, I got out of the Marine Corps with a very bad taste in my mouth from the military in general, the Marine Corps, the government, like, I don't know, everything. I gave college a try and it didn't work out for me very well. Didn't like it at all. And then I decided that, I guess it was 2000, 19, it was me and two of my other Marine Corps buddies, that we were gonna start a podcast because, well, I don't know, when we first thought about it, we were just arguing in the backyard, talking about politics all the time, and people thought we were crazy. And then I guess they used to be called the Fagcast. They kind of really boosted us, and they really helped us out and gave us publicity and interviews on their show and stuff. And they kind of helped us boost up a lot. But the biggest thing we wanted to start it for is because we were 3 Marine Corps veterans, and it felt like there wasn't that many, at least at the time, we thought there wasn't very many like libertarians or people, even like anarchists, self-proclaimed anarchists that are veterans out there. And so we started a podcast, and then as we slowly were growing, we found out really quick that we were not the only ones out there. There was plenty of others. I mean, when we were starting, it was like Matt from Status Quo. He was starting about the same time we were, so we ran into him. Pat from Uncensored Tactical, he was started recently. There used to be a podcast. I don't think they're going anymore, but Vets for Voluntarism, I think. They started, and it was really cool to finally find some other vets and connect with, to like build this sort of liberty community and like veterans. And you can transition from the Marine Corps and be anti-government and anti-state, and that's kind of the atmosphere we try to push on our podcast. Biting the Bullet. We've been going for like 2 years now, and I think that pretty much describes me.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like I was saying, I put out a post kind of just essentially outing myself today, fucking being military. And there was a shitload of people who were saying the same exact shit. So it's big. I mean, I know me at work, it's not like I don't really know anyone else. I think I might know of vaguely maybe one person who considers himself an anarchist. I know of probably a decent handful that considers themselves libertarians. I mean, most of the demographic of the military is usually like either center left or conservative types. So, because there's a pretty good mix. So I mean, mostly it's conservative types, and even them, like you can tell they're kind of over it. Like if they ever get into it, it's kind of just like like if you ever get into the argument with them, they're usually kind of like, well, yeah, you're right, and they just don't usually ever go. They're almost like defeated. Like it's like they don't really have anything to say. It's like they know at this point,
Yeah. And honestly, there's not a lot of people that are like really politically, at least in my opinion, there wasn't a lot of people that were super political in the military. I mean, there was people that were like, they would say they were conservative on surface level. They're like, I was a Republican. Like, the Democrats are trying to take my guns or something like that. And that's why I joined the military. They never take my guns, or I don't know. I don't know. I've seen some extreme people that like they're all really big into whatever, but the most political people I've ever met was outside the military when people were veterans. I don't know what it is, but veterans I run into are very like they're in your face about their politics a lot of the times. It's really weird.
No, that's definitely a thing. Hey, what was your MOS when you were in? I believe I've heard before you were non-combat, right?
Yeah, I was an intelligence analyst.
Well, that kind of leads into my next point, because I want to get into like messaging in this episode, and I think I kind of wanted to initially start out with like messaging like while in and while out, and I also kind of wanted to caveat that with being non-combat, because I'm in a non-combat role as well. I would consider it self-operational, because I actually do like it's like pretty, because I know where I'm at, we have what we'll call nonners and like everyone else, because nonners are non-essentials, so those would be like your fucking assholes that are like folding towels at the fucking gym on base, like they're like the useless ones, the ones that like even if you buy into the idea of that needing a military and the mission having to go on, what do you really need? Like those people are the ones you don't are considered the nonners. So I'm still like operational, like I am somebody you would actually need to be able to keep it going because I fix the planes. But and intelligence probably would fall into that as well. But point being, I'm getting at, neither of us are combat. So like I feel like, you see people like Shane Hazel and shit, they're like fucking certified badasses, and you're like, it's kind of weird. I feel like it's this weird dynamic, because even like within the military, you're talking to people, it's like people know, like, dude, you've never fucking seen any shit, like. And then, but then there's also this weird dynamic on the outside where they just assume you've seen shit. So it's like, you know what I mean?
It's very weird. You hit nail on the head. I mean, everyone outside of the military, they assume that you are like this PTSD, went through hell, you were in Afghanistan, stepped on IEDs. Like, I don't know. They think the absolute like craziest scenario, or at least in some level that happened to you, that's what they think. But in the military, that's not how it is at all. Everyone's they're checking those ribbons, or they're checking your combat patch, whatever branch you have that signifies that you've actually done something. And that's what they justify. They and most people in the military don't experience, combat. I mean, I think I don't even know what the statistics are, but most people in the military are all either you're pretending to be fighting the whole time while you're in the military. I mean, there's sometimes that people can do some deployment of some sort, but most of the time you're not seeing any combat. Like, that's just the reality of most people in the military. I think there was a higher statistical chance that you could be killed in Chicago than there is being in the military in the streets of Afghanistan. Like, it's just not that, it's not as crazy as it used to be. Definitely like in the early pushes and in like 07 and 03.
Yeah, it's the kind of the same dynamic of people always go about how cops are they have the most dangerous job, and they're really like fucking douchey about it. And it's like, dude, it's really not that dangerous. It's kind of the same thing with military. And I don't know if you have the same thing. It really fucking irritates me the way some people are in the military and out the military, like people like veterans, about like how, I mean, it's one thing to be proud of your service, but some people that's like their identity, and it's like.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, maybe there's a small chance they're a badass, but most likely they aren't. And I feel like the ones who have done some shit usually aren't the ones like that. So it's usually the dudes who like, I don't know, they drove a truck or something, like, or they like, it's like, what are you, I don't know, it irritates me. Like, I saw some dude who, on Twitter, to bring it up as an example, he fucking put, because we were kind of going to argument, and then he like quote tweeted, and he put some shit like, it's crazy how people like see veteran and patriot in my fucking bio and act like they're dirty words. I'm like, no, it's just gay and cringe. Like it makes you seem like you're just some dude who was folding towels and now is fucking flexing on the normies back home.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like.
I mean, I don't know what it was like for you, but when I was in the Marine Corps, there's like this phase you go through where like when you first become a Marine or graduate boot camp or whatever, you're very proud of it. You're like, you think you're the top of the world. You've done the coolest thing ever. And then as you go farther into your career, you realize everyone else that's been in for a while, they start making fun of you for being proud of being in the military. Like, they start laughing at you like all the time. If you were wearing like a Marine Corps shirt, they're like, "Wow, dude, gay." Like, I don't know, like, people did not like it when people would like, if someone got a moto tat, oh my God forbid they got a moto tat right after graduating boot camp, because people would make fun of them like almost so bad that like people would just start covering it up. Like, they were like, having pride in the military was weird, because if you're around civilians, it's easy to come off as like prideful because there's no other like someone in the military around, so you can like, yeah, I was in the Marine Corps, like whatever, like blah blah blah. But I don't know what it was when I was in the Marine Corps, like actually around on the base and around other Marines, like I don't know, we would make fun of each other if you acted like you were any sort of proud about being in the Marine Corps. Like, I don't know, it's such a weird dynamic. But then I have the same people that are outside of the Marine Corps, like you said, and they make it their identity. And I think it has a lot to do with, I don't know if it's like, even the people that cling to it after they get out, even they were smart enough to get out. But I think that like it is like they almost do make the military so part of your identity. And it's like you meet, I don't know, I would consider when I was in the Marine Corps, I met the best of friends. So I don't know, I think people are, when they get out and they get away from the military, they're kind of searching for that, like, I don't know, belonging. They want to belong to a group, and now that they're out of the military, it doesn't feel like they're in a group anymore. I don't know exactly, but it's
yeah,
weird.
And to be fair, I'm shitting on like veterans a little bit, but it is like there's partially a bit of it that's like the only ones you really know are veterans are the ones who are making it a thing, because otherwise we're just human beings. Like, you're not just gonna see the dude walking in the supermarket and go, that dude's a fucking veteran. Like, you're not gonna know unless he's wearing his fucking, his little hat or whatever, or you know what I mean, like wearing his fucking shirt that said he was at whatever deployment or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of tell the ones who are like wearing it on their sleeves quite literally.
Yeah.
Quick aside, are you gotten into these like neocon wars at all, like on Twitter, like, or just like any of that shit?
Not with like the Not the. I mean, I followed the whole like what's his name, Cassidy or Castle or whatever. I followed that whole thing with Clint when he went on there and debated him, and well, Ace went on there and debated him. I followed that whole thing, and but I mean, I argue with neocons pretty much. I haven't argued with them much on Twitter lately, but anytime I see any, I try to argue with them as much as I can. But I wasn't part of like the bashing on the big group, the big ones that everyone found that had a YouTube channel, which was fucking wild to me.
Yeah, no, I only bring it up because there was really only like a handful of them, and one of them was this young Marine. You can tell he's young, and he's wearing his Marine in his profile pic, or his uniform in his profile pic, and like so he's one of those, and he's like super hoorah about all that shit. And I remember, I wish I could remember some of the shit I was hurling at him, but it was so much fun because I was like, I'm able to come from that perspective of being in, or like knowing how it is. I mean, like this dude is probably some new motherfucker who like is super gung-ho and is like super happy about it in that phase still, and he's all like trying to find some ideology to justify his existence instead of just like dying inside like the rest of us that are in. And like he fucking and he like, so he's still trying to find a way to deal with the cognitive dissonance. And I'm just like, I really wish I could remember what some of the shit I said to him, because I was just shitting on him, being like, I bet you your buddies that at work still don't fucking like you. Like you're the dude that has his uniform and his profile pic. Nobody likes that dude.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you probably seen him, but it's like the Muslim Marine on Twitter. He's the guy always calling for gun control. And every time his tweets was like, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a weapon of war called the M16, and like goes on about how civilians shouldn't have this shit. And every time it's like his picture is like from him when he was like, I don't know, like 20 years old. And I know it looks like he was in the 90s and he's talking about like gun control, man. Like, I don't know, people clean. I mean, my dad's guilty of this too. Like my dad, every time it's like the Marine Corps birthday, he's putting a picture of him in Desert Storm always on his profile picture. I'm like, okay, Dad, that's kind of cool, but stop doing it every year.
I'm glad you brought up the Muslim Marine. I actually looked into him once, and he had like a desk job. And he also like he had some sort of like HR type thing, and he actually narked out a fuckload of Marines. So, I don't know the exact details.
God, are you serious?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Dude, then he's my god. He's the worst of the worst.
No, he's awful. And the funny thing is too, though, he always clings to like, oh, I was in the Marine. And it's like, dude, you didn't fucking do shit. And it's like, for example, I've been in 11 years. I think I maybe have shot 2 or 3 times, one of which was in basic. I don't know how often you qualified. I mean, that's
once a year, but it's not like that's that impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you're also a Marine, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, the point is like, my point I'm getting at is even once a year is like, doesn't make you a fucking weapons expert.
No, dude, that's legit though. I mean, I did shoot a little bit more, maybe because I was on different field ops and stuff like that. But most, like a lot of the admin dudes, like S1, like they only shoot once a year. They get like the bare minimum qualification, and then like somehow someone puts a stamp and like this guy's ready for combat if ever need be. And it's just like a joke now. I mean, the military is just all about pass. Like if you can pass, good. We just need a warm body in that position and to do these meaningless tasks. And that's what they're okay with nowadays. It's not much better. Like the Marine Corps prides itself. The Marine Corps is like the biggest theater show. They have to put on this show because that's all they got. Like the Marine Corps is this bastard child in the military, so they have to put on this whole facade about how we're like the biggest, baddest, tough motherfuckers. And in some senses, in some sense we are like in certain things, but overall, it's just clear autism is leading us.
Yeah, no, it's just funny that that's the case. And like, I don't know how you guys would qualify. For us, it literally is like herding cattle or sheep. They're just like, come here, here's a gun. Here's what it does. All right, let's go fucking shoot. I literally have seen them like to qualify for people getting. I've seen them poke holes to add extra to get people qualified, and like multiple times. They're just trying to get people through. Like they don't want to have to see you again. And if you fail, you come back another day, and they're like, all right, you gotta qualify again.
there's a term for that in the Marine Corps. It's called it's called working the pit, and it's called pit love. if someone in the pit, that's because your target that they shoot at, there's 2 Marines that pull it down and pull it up and whatever. And if they see, so like I've seen it happen where they pull it down and they see the guy hit it and it's way off the target, like the center at least. And someone just stabs a hole right in the middle. It's like, looks like a 5 to me, and throws that bitch back up there.
Yeah, I mean, no one gives a shit. They know you're not gonna like do a damn thing. It's just like it's just meaningless. It's just basically pomp and circumstance to be like, see, we're the armed force. It's cool. Like,
yeah, it's literally so they can show on a piece of paper that you did this. That's all it's there for.
No,
so they can have their standards met up to. It's ridiculous.
Now, did you say you started getting a little more political while you were in, or wasn't until you were out?
It was definitely while I was still in the Marine Corps. I started paying attention to Donald Trump because I just thought it was wild, and I actually really liked Trump at first. I just thought he was funny. My parents were Trump supporters. But then, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I didn't like about him. Mainly, it was actually a weird story, but my captain in the Marine Corps, he happened to be a libertarian, and he was so my last 2 years I was with him, and I never even heard of the Libertarian Party, but he was talking about the Libertarian Party, and he talked a little bit about Ron Paul. And I had no idea. So this was the weirdest part, was we would be going over I don't know, some weird intelligence analysis of Afghanistan or some terrorist organization or whatever. And we would go over all what their, most likely avenues of approach and courses of actions they would take in these certain operating environments. But while he was explaining that to me, he was telling me pretty much the truth about what was going on, because I don't even remember the exact details, but he would just be like, we actually armed them 6 years ago. And I was like, what? And it just all these inconsistencies with what I was taught before. And I don't know, I just when he was explaining just small little details like that, it wasn't even the stuff I know now. It just started to wake me up, and I was and I became more political because I was in the Marine Corps too, because I had to for my job. I had to study the political atmosphere of different countries and stuff. So as them teaching me how to do that, I became more interested in what was going on in our American politics. So that's where it kind of started, was pretty much that captain in the Marine Corps. And he kind of showed me the light a little bit. And then I found Gary Johnson and was on his train for a while, and so on and so forth.
Which we'll get to that type here soon, because that'll tie into the kind of current events. What I was driving at though is because you started having your shift while in. How did you see messaging being to other people in while you were in? Did you see how did you approach that? Were you upfront about it? Were you messaging essentially?
Messaging from the Libertarian Party? What do you mean?
Just not even party. I generally don't like this. The ideology, how did you interact with other people? Was this the thing you brought up? How would you approach it when it did come up? Would you skate around it? Would you? I mean, it's a little bit different. Were you identifying as an anarchist at the time? Because it is I feel like whether you identify as an anarchist is kind of, or do you even now? I don't even know if you do now.
Yeah, I consider myself an anarchist now.
Okay.
When it basically, I would just start talking about things that. At first, I would start talking about things that I knew nothing about. I would start talking. Because I guess I don't know. I think that maybe with Donald Trump, the military maybe got more political, but it seemed like I was with the groups that I was friends with when I was in the Marine Corps. I don't know why, but we loved to get drunk in the smoke pit and just talk for hours. Well, a lot of times it ends up in some religious or political debate, which is it's almost meaningless, but. We would just talk about different things like that. So when I started finding about Gary Johnson, I started talking to people, and a lot of people it kind of resonated with. They're like, oh, that sounds good. But they're like, oh, but it's the libertarians. They're never going to win type of thing. And I was like, but they're good ideas. I don't understand. And so a lot of people it resonated with that I talked to pretty much one-on-one. Talking to my dad a lot helped. And but I don't a lot of times though, it was always they would laugh at me. They would say those are really good ideas, but it's Gary Johnson, and they would just laugh at me like, how could we even vote this guy in as president? So like I was always losing the battle, and I'd be like, oh, but Hillary's worse and Donald Trump is worse, and it was never. So I actually probably toward the end I stopped arguing with people because I was like, I don't want people to think I'm stupid trying to convince you to vote for the guy that doesn't know where Aleppo is.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll make that come full circle because I think I can kind of see why. I think there was a reason why. For one, you were obviously still getting your footing, like figuring
Yeah.
things out. But I think there's something too why it was kind of almost this oh well that's cute type thing. I mean I'll go ahead and spoil a little bit. I'm kind of getting at bold messaging. It's kind of where we're going for, but we'll get into that. Now that you're out, how do you find messaging going with people who are like other military, whether they be in or out? Like, are you bold about it? Oh, another thing, just to back up a little bit, I was kind of getting at how if you're anarchist, because that's another thing too, is like I feel like there's something weird about like this weird divide of once you finally decide to call you're an anarchist, and people almost see anarchists as being crazy, and so it's just like, do you claim it? Do you not? So I think like it plays a lot into messaging when you're dealing with people. Are you just saying like, oh well, we need to be a little less bad than these guys, or are you just saying fuck this whole goddamn thing, let's tear it down?
Yeah. For me, I kind of, I don't know, I do both. I think I'm kind of bold sometimes with it, and then sometimes I kind of just kind of quietly lean into it. What I mean is I don't really outright, especially when I'm like talking to normies a lot, I guess. I don't outright say I'm an anarchist, but I'm never afraid to admit it. So if anyone ever asks me or anything, I'll say like, oh, I don't really, believe in that I'm an anarchist, or like I kind of just try to get it to roll off the tongue like it's normal. But a lot of people don't like, it's not that they don't like, they're just shocked and don't understand, and it's like you're a weirdo. So most of the time, if I'm talking to someone that I think is like a conservative or right leaning, I try to talk in terms in their language. So I kind of change my argument depending on who I'm talking to and how do I approach it. It's something I've actually just started kind of doing, because before I would always, the biggest thing I would always talk about was the war. And I would always like bring up, what we were doing in the Middle East, how it's a waste of time, all the inconsistencies, the atrocities, everything I could. And a lot of people, and most of everyone would agree, like, oh, that's terrible, we need to stop that. But no one cares. Like a lot of people just don't care about like the war right now. Like it's just not a thing. Like COVID's happening. Why are we worrying? Why are we talking about the war? COVID's happening. And
the war has become the national debt is what it's become.
Yeah, exactly. And so I would try like brutal messaging like that. Like I would just straight up like, they're killing babies. Like there's babies starving in the street. And I mean, that came off probably a little too aggressive for people most of the time. So I kind of changed my rhetoric a little bit, and and I'm not really the guy that would, if I hear people talking politics, I don't just like run up there like, I know I can add to this conversation. I kind of just like if I'm talking to friends, I'll let the conversation come up and just give my opinion on it. And I try not to force it down people's throats anymore. That's what I have the podcast for. I'll force it down people's throats on there. But I don't know. I think I come at more strategically now than I did before. Like I think before I was trying to act like just like another party member, like vote for my party, this guy will do it. Now I don't really bring up a political party or anything. I just kind of talk factual about things and like try to bring a reality to the situation instead of people being filled with like the propaganda that they all hear about.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a distinction between like, I think that like one of the main things caught from that was a distinction between dealing with people on an individual level and dealing with like, say in a larger, whether it be social media or say you're a party or whatever. Also, another thing I kind of want to touch on real quick. One of the main things I watch for, like to tell if anyone's worth a damn, like if I see them identify themselves by the party, and this isn't even to be like go into like whether you should operate within politics or not. If you identify yourself by the party and not by the ideology, I immediately basically kind of write you off. Like, because it's kind of like this person is coming from a spot that I guess maybe write him off is not the right way to put it, but I kind of like, I'm immediately suspect. Like, cause
for sure.
Like, I don't give a fuck what your platform is. Like, I don't give a shit. Like,
and that's something, but that party, I don't know, that party like
mindset
that they have. Yeah, that party mindset. I can't even argue with people like that. Like when they just straight up want to argue like, well, the Democrats are worse. The Democrats are worse. And it's like, I'm not arguing like, when I argue about things, I'm not arguing like a Democrat or Republican. I'm just trying to point like this is what the government does, and this is what the problem is. And but they want to argue, well, the Democrats would be worse, or if you're talking to a Democrat, they would say the opposite. The Republicans are worse. And that's all they want to argue about is which party's worse. I'm like, I'm not going to argue with you about which party's worse. And even if I was a Republican or a Democrat, I don't feel like arguing which party's worse is the better thing. It should be arguing about, okay, what do you believe? Like, do you believe in this and believe in that? Because I mean, most people, like, they don't believe in any, like, half the shit that their party says that they're for. They don't even believe it. They just, I don't know. It's like to some people, politics is just like team sport. And then there's some people that actually believe in the politics. But I don't know. I think, I don't want to be rude, but lower status people, it's just a team sport thing.
Mm. No, yeah, that's true for sure. Did want to kind of touch on, oh fuck, I totally had a brain fart. Shit. Zoned out. Oh no, I know what I was gonna say. Fucking, you know what, fuck it, let's move on. I just had blanked it the fuck out. I don't know what's going on in my brain. Let's move on to current events and tie it into messaging, because fucking we had some crazy shit happen this past week. This will go up next week. Whatever. Whenever you're watching this was recorded a week ago. So the week prior to this was fucking nuts with like the LPKY and all the Holocaust and the Jew shit. Like,
yeah.
So I want your thoughts. Fucking yeah. Let's. What are your thoughts on the LPKY whole fiasco?
Well, honestly, well, I mean, people want to say that sure, the tweet may be a little bit hyperbolic, but at the same time, it gets a lot of traction and it got a lot of attention. I mean, for God's sakes, I don't know if it was Dave Smith or the Libertarian Party of Kentucky, but they got libertarian trending on Twitter, and that's pretty cool. I've never seen that in like the whole 2 years I've been on Twitter. So that was really awesome, but I don't understand. To me, I just didn't understand why so many people were upset. And I was really surprised on there was inter-party conflict, like literal political parties from different states were talking shit to each other on Twitter. I was like, oh my God. So who was it? Libertarian Party of Nevada? Is that the ones that
one of the other ones? I don't
yeah.
remember. I don't really give a shit about party politics, but yes, one of the other ones came back with some snippy bullshit and it was like, well, you know, we'll do it with Bitcoin or some gay shit, and it's like, well, that'll make it better. Something stupid like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Or I don't know. They insulted. I don't know. But then they defended. No, that's what they did. They defended the vaccine. The Libertarian Party of Nevada. They came out and said they defended private uses of the vaccine, which by far was the dumbest stance I've ever heard a Libertarian Party make. So at the same time that I was like, this moment for libertarians, it's like really cool. At one point, I was just like, this is awesome, cool for libertarians. And at the same time, I was so mad at libertarians because they were like almost ruining the moment. And I mean, I don't think they did, but I think they tried to ruin the moment. And there's that whole thing about like it being anti-Semitic or whatever, like the tweet from Libertarian Party Kentucky comparing it to the Jewish Star, like they said it was anti-Semitic, but then like a day or two later, Israel came out and like compared it to the vaccine passport to the Holocaust.
Did you watch? Sorry, I don't mean to throw you off your vibe, but did you watch the fucking podcast with Dave and the rabbi?
I did not watch. I watched like 5 minutes of it. I didn't really watch it anymore.
All right. Obviously, he's not the say-so in all Jews in the world, but like, but he fucking his argument. His thing was, oh, it wasn't anti-Semitic. It was anti-Semitic in effect. So like, and then on top of that, one of his other main arguments was that I think Dave pressed him on some shit at one point, and he goes, "Oh no, that's not this not like." He basically claimed ownership of the definition of anti-Semitism, and then he pulled it to, "Oh well, you know, we have come together as a community and got to define it. If anyone gets to define it, we do." And so essentially, I've been having fun on Twitter, and like anytime someone says anti-Semitism, I hopped in. I'd be like, "Whoa, let's wait till the Council of Elder Jews speaks on this."
I actually didn't know all that. Wow.
Yeah, no. So like, I mean,
That
I don't
sounds
know.
like some leftist bullshit.
Yeah, like I don't know enough about Judaism, but I know that it's like a thing. They're known for being like scholars and stuff, and they do like come together and like have kind of like it's kind of the same thing that happens like in academia where they kind of like will fucking come to consensus quotation marks kind of shit, like say with science and stuff. So it's the same sort of idea, but it's still like, no, I'm sorry, dude. I don't give a fuck what you've come up with. You don't get to define words for us.
we anarchists should just come together and start defining terms. I don't know. You can't define it that way because all anarchists agree on this way.
Yeah. No, it was very frustrating to watch that fucking thing because Dave was being very polite.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Well, that's something too. Like, I don't know how polite I could be right away. Like, I don't know if it seems like Dave, and especially like Clint, when he went on the Neocon podcast, like, I mean, he dropped some bombs and they were hilarious. But most of the time, like, he was very respectful. And like, I don't know, man. It's like, sometimes I just want to call someone like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't know how else to describe. Maybe it's because I'm dumb and I can't intellectually like describe why you're an idiot. But like, the first instinct is my head is like, you're a fucking idiot, dude.
Yeah, this whole past week, dude, I've been doing nothing but like making the situation where it's like I've been riding the line so hard, like just dipping it around it, like just like humping the line, like I'd be on that line where like, is this racist? Is it not? I don't know. like I legit made a 6 billion joke to the fucking rabbi, but it was like kind of.
That's hilarious.
That's actually what kind of got him like enraged at first was like kind of me, and then he was like, "Well, look at these people."
Yeah,
but like I was only shitting
Tower
on
Gang
him.
didn't help this situation.
That was the guy. But I mean, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm all about it. As soon as this just started happening, I was like, I want to make this fucking go harder because this kind of ties into my next point. I'm all about this. I mean, obviously, it's like we shouldn't be going around yelling the N-word or some craziness, but but if you're right, like push the issue. Don't kowtow and be like, oh, well, maybe that was a little insensitive or whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck. I was listening to a podcast. It was actually the Tower Power Hour. For those interested, and they were kind of talking about like unity, like the different types of unity, and they were talking about lib unity, and like it was funny how like. When you talk to libertarians, like they think lib unity and they immediately think like bottom left. They kind of give it the best possible like idea. And they're thinking like Emma Goldman, like people like that. They're like, oh, well, I would team up with them. It's like, no. Like, but then you hear like the fucking like party types or like and they mean when they say lib unity, they mean like us and them. I've come to the conclusion that those are fucking centrists. Like those motherfuckers, like those are centrists. That's what they are. They don't really have any principles. They're just like, well, let's not be as bad as the other guys. They're just centrists that don't call themselves centrists. And I want to make them as uncomfortable as possible to call themselves libertarian, like within reason. Like, I mean, I don't want to be like those guys just go around screaming the N-word. But like, I want them to be like, I don't know if I feel comfortable in this space. They're just completely okay with being, principled and offending people with their principles. Like, fuck you. Like, go eat a dick. I don't give a shit. Like, go fuck off. Be a centrist. I don't care. Go say you're centrist. Go have fun standing for nothing. But like that's where I'm at. I want them out. Like, I'm not even like saying from a party perspective. A lot of people know I am not political. I'm actually more like the agorist vein. I actually don't advocate. But so far as like within the intellectual space, I'm all about it. If it takes the party, like fucking taking these people out and not claiming themselves as libertarian in this like intellectual space, that works out for me too. Like I don't want them. I don't give a shit. Like even from outside the politics, I don't want them fucking. I don't want anyone associating me with those types. Like like, I don't know. I have nothing in common with people like that. I just don't. I want them fucking gone. Like I don't give a shit.
And I don't even think a lot of these people, I think they're just kind of like NPCs, but they're libertarians. Like I think they just go wherever the wind blows, like whatever, like if it was, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago and like gay marriage was a problem on like it was maybe not as a big issue and like no one was actually like campaigning for it. Well, they weren't talking about it then. They weren't talking about like, oh, like making that the highlight of the Libertarian Party. Like we're all about gay rights. Like they didn't care about that. But since the atmosphere has changed and that's what they think they have to do to appease the cathedral, so now like they're afraid to like step on any lines, and like they're, I don't know. You're right. Like I don't think I want like this inclusion, like bring everybody in, everyone's accepted. Like what? Like no. Like why? Like I mean, I understand. I would want people that would be against the cathedral and like this maybe have some sort of cultural footing in America with the Libertarian Party. I don't really know, but I don't want it filled with these people that aren't afraid to be bold and go step up and actually preach something and make, be funny. Like, I don't know, do something that it be offensive, like get attention to yourself. Like, I mean, that's it seems like that's the best way to get attention is you have to rile up a bunch of feathers. And on Twitter, that seems the only way that people get attention is like if some person tweets something and a whole bunch of people from this political ideology are pissed off, it's going to bring a lot of attention to that tweet. And I don't know. I think that's the best way to go about it. Just be bold, stand on some principles, and say how you feel. Like I'd rather someone in the Libertarian Party for some reason be a freaking monarchist and start preaching about how we should have a king or whatever. But I'd rather that person have some goddamn principles and stand on some right. And he's like, I want a king, but I want gun rights and like whatever. But he's like, I'm done with democracy. I want a king. I'm like, stand on your ground, dude. Like people are probably gonna make fun of you. It's really weird, especially hearing from an American. But at least you're principled and don't change whenever the wind blows the other way.
Yeah, no, like that's one thing I was talking to somebody. I was saying I like at least with like say for example like diagonal unity, like with the fucking ancoms. At least they stand for something. Like
yeah,
like it's completely opposite of what I stand for, but at least they stand for something. Like I don't know. A kind of perfect example I was getting at before though. I think this is something worth bringing up. Is fucking David Feit, the guy who hosted the debate for with the rabbi and Dave. He fucking put some shit, like put some tweet up that was like, oh, me when I see fucking when I see Dave thanking the rabbi and Nick Sarwark, and it was like it's like lib unity, it's working or whatever, and then we in Tower Gang got together and towered him with lib unity as fake and gay. And that's kind of like my thing though is like, okay, if we were talking like legit bottom left, sure, whatever, okay, that's a different argument. But really, like I said, they're centrists. Like there's nothing there. But that's complete characterization of what like Dave was doing. He was just being polite. Like doesn't mean he was being like, and it's not even a matter of like being like, because it's not a binary choice. It's not unity or not unity. It's like I feel like the people like the Dave types, they're being like, this is what I'm about. And you can fucking come with me or not. I will be polite to you, and that's kind of seems to be the tactic he's going with these days. I will be polite to you, but don't mistake that for me being on the same team as you. This is what I'm doing, and if you want to fucking have some principles, you can come fucking hang out with me.
Like, yeah.
You know?
That's definitely the messaging I got from Dave Smith, and that's kind of why the reason why me and Luke decided to join the Mises Caucus. Honestly, the Mises Caucus, like it was one of the me and Luke were the same way for the longest time, where we hated the whole political system. Like we thought it was useless, especially after 2020. We thought it was fucking useless. But I don't know. The Mises Caucus is a lot of people. I found after just I went to like one of their meetings, and it was a lot of people that think pretty much on the same lines as me. So I thought that was really cool. And I mean, I don't really know if the political process is the best way. I have no idea what I'm even doing trying to jump into this, like, what's a Libertarian Party? But I found a lot of people that think just like me. And honestly, for anything, I like hanging out with people that I can say are other anarchists. Like, there's not a lot of us out here. I mean, I met a lot of people online, and it's cool that we build like this weird anarchist liberty community on Twitter, and we have all the fun things that we do, like Tower Gang motherfuckers. But like, honestly, like you want to hang out with people, you want to go like play golf or go, I don't know, play basketball or go do something with like real people. So it's pretty cool that I was able to meet a bunch of people here in Arizona and potentially get together and hang out. But that's like honestly the personal benefit is the best thing that came from it for me. But I really think the way they're structured and the way they're working, I just think there's some things that they really, I don't know if it's a major changes, but at least at the local level, like I can be, hey man, I hate this fucking tax, and it's actually something they could be like, oh, we could probably get rid of that, and it's like, oh, cool, like it's just a small ass thing here in a local level, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this is a whole other giant discussion. I've done multiple podcasts on the subject and I'm able to talk at length. So, and it's also, but at the end of the day, like, while I said I'm not political, at the end of the day, like, I kind of don't fucking care because it's like mathematically, it's insignificant whether you vote or not. I don't really give a shit. So it's like, for me, I just choose to, if anything, I just disregard it. Like, I don't really care. I'm focused on getting me and my mind ready or in a good spot, and that's all I really give a shit about. I'm also not that social of an individual, so I don't really need to hang out. I mean, it's great for people who are. I don't really like people like that. I live out in the country for a reason. But anyways, I want to kind of go back to, we kind of touched this a little bit, but messaging to normies, and we kind of touched this. I think it's different when you're talking to people on the individual level and like say on like a big level like social media or something. I do think we kind of touch on it. It seems like what we kind of got to, and what me and you agree on, is that the idea, like say on Twitter or social media, or say if you have some platform to talk to people, is to be bold. But yeah, on the individual level, like if I'm dealing with people, I'm not gonna be like super bold. But the thing is, I'm also gonna not be bold. So like I think you kind of got at that too, where it was like that's like your point of that same thing with me. If someone brings up, I may casually mention I'm an anarchist, or I try my best to, or I will say something that completely insinuates it. It's like I don't hide from it, is basically where I'm at. Like I don't hide from the term. And even then on top of that, like it's kind of, I feel like sometimes tactically you just got to kind of be a little smarter and realize how to work it with people. Cause I mean, you can kind of read the room, and sometimes you know that like, if this is some hoorah fucking MAGA, like almost borderline neocon type, if you say anarchist, he's probably going to freak the fuck out. So like maybe don't immediately just like trigger him unless that's the response you're going for. Because I actually find sometimes it is helpful to fucking trigger people, and if that's, I mean, like I don't mean go nuts with it, but sometimes even on an individual level, if you get them, especially if you know it's something that you're like, I can totally like, if they freak out, I can kind of like, I can handle it. Like if they bring it like, well, what about this? And you're like, well, that. I mean, as long as you know it's something you can handle, and like, and if the biggest thing is to maintain your demeanor. You're what's it say in the military? You're a military fucking
you're bearing.
If you maintain that and you stay relaxed, and it's not that you're not showing you're getting upset and they're getting upset, and you're able to show that you're basically right, essentially, they may like but they're gonna think on that later and be like, I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts. That's actually really just I remember like I meant to say earlier.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like in some cases it is better to not like almost like publicly embarrass them. Like I guess you said on an individual level, but I mean like get them angry to where like it's almost comical that they're mad, and to the point to where like they have to realize they're being over, like they're trying to defend something so hard that that's why they're mad, is because they can't logically connect it anymore. So the only option they have is to get angry. And I think it works. Stuff like that I would do to like family members because I can handle when they get mad. I know how they act, and like they're my family, and like when it's in the end of the day, we're all gonna love each other. So like honestly, I would try to poke at my parents sometimes to try to get them wild up, and I think overall it works, because once they realize that they're not even arguing from a logical standpoint anymore, they're just arguing from emotion. And then if you're conservative, you can hit them with like, well, facts don't care about your feelings. And they get really mad. But I think they come to in the end and be like, okay, I think you were right. But I find it to be almost harder and easier for some veterans to understand that. Like some veterans, it's easy for them to be like, yeah, that makes sense, and just accept, like they've already accepted the reality. But I feel like there's some veterans that if you say that, it hurts their identity. Like, I mean, if you criticize the war state and something like that, and especially if they served or lost anyone when they were over there, it gets really emotional for them. And in some cases, it's like maybe I should just let them think that the propaganda, military industrial complex the ideas that they're fighting for freedom and liberty. And I was like, sometimes I just leave people alone. Like maybe you should just live in that fantasy, because I don't know. I feel like some people, if they break out of the fantasy, they almost crack a little bit. I don't know about you. Maybe I'll ask you this, but I was pretty black pilled right after I kind of became red pilled. Was that about the same for you, or are you different?
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to be talking to. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but my cat decided to give birth. I was supposed to have Clint on yesterday, and we were going to talk about the clear pill, which is because I mean, really, the way it generally works is you go red. Well, it's blue, red, black, white, and then I think, and this is something I think Molebugs talk about, but I haven't really looked into his definition too much. But this is kind of my definition, and then clear. Clear is kind of like realism. But like, yeah, you know, it's definitely, I got black pilled after red pilled, because there was that period of time where you're like, oh fuck, and like I probably was semi black pilled for a long time, and then like COVID, when that kicked in, I got like super black pilled, like oh fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah, our podcast episodes right after the COVID lockdown were a lot more aggressive, and we were drinking more. Like that's all we could do.
I would legit go outside with like because I live out in the country and have like a couple acres. I would like lock my fucking gates every night when it was like at the peak, and I was legit going out with fucking smoking with my AR slung over my shoulder, just like kind of like walk around the property, looking around, kind of. I got like a whole loadout set up and shit. Like I have everything ready to go. Like for the.
Are you from a small town?
I mean, I live in Florida, and I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a small town, but I live kind of close to like the city-ish. I'm like 45 minutes outside of Tampa, and there's like but I'm like from a small town. I grew up in Maine. It was where I was born, and I grew up in a small town there. And I lived in Tennessee, and I was a small town there. So I've lived in rural like my whole life, and then like being in Tampa.
I grew up in a very small town, and like right when I started patrolling the property, and I was like, that literally sounds like something like people in my small town would have done. Like, you know, the city folk are getting crazy out there. Like we gotta check the property a little bit.
Yeah, no, I got like really ready, because I was legit convinced for a while that fucking it was gonna kick off, and then I realized the conservatives were not about that shit. So I'm like, well, no, they're not gonna kick it off. So
yeah.
Get everything ready.
That's wild. Yeah, man. We bought a shit ton of canned food. We still have some canned food, man. We have so much canned food. We didn't know what was gonna happen, and oh man, that was I mean, I lost my job the day the lockdown started, and I was like, holy fuck, this is it. This is it. Like, I'm gonna get hungry soon.
I mean, you know what my job is, and I've mentioned it multiple times. So I was still getting paid throughout, but I was like going to work less. Yeah. So it gave me more to like, all right, I'm gonna start securing the property. I'm gonna like start doing this. Yeah, it was I started like running, like getting back into really good shape, because I was like, you know, I gotta be fit to fight.
Yeah,
it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, my parents, like they still live in that small town I grew up in, and they thought the same thing. They're like, there's gonna be riots, the world's gonna collapse. Like my parents were so scared, and I was like, oh my god, like. And then,
dude, there were riots though.
I mean, yeah, there for sure was. Like a couple months later. I mean, luckily, I think my parents were more like. They were on the news, and there was Black Lives Matter people saying that they're going to leave the cities and go into the suburbs. That's when my parents were like, okay. And my dad went out and bought a gun. And I was like, I mean, he already had a few guns, but he went out and bought a newer gun for my mom.
I'm not going to lie. I got a little excited because like, I wish a motherfucker would, because like I literally live on a cul-de-sac and I'm the last house. So I'm like, oh, this will be fun. And I live at like, it's like, where I'm at is like deeded out for everyone has at least an acre. So it's like, and it's like a semi nice-ish neighborhood. So it's like, if anything, it's like a redneck rich neighborhood. So it's like, they're ready.
We were living in the ghetto when this was happening. We were, I don't want to be racist, but me and Luke were the only white people on the block. and someone
You
was
were a
murdered
target.
across the murdered across the street. Yeah, I mean, me and Luke were like, dude, if a race war happens, we are fucked right now. We are so fucked. But our neighbor, it was wild, dude. I was really surprised. I mean, we talked to a few of our neighbors when we lived there, but not too many. We all kind of just kept to ourselves. But right when it happened, we were out back. I don't know what we were doing out back. I can't remember. But our neighbor came over, and then he was like, we're just talking to him. He's like, dude, this is wild. This is crazy. And at the end of it, he's like, hey, man, I'll watch your stuff if you watch mine. And we looked at him. We're like, yeah, man, we got you. And it was like a cool moment where like this, I mean, we probably talked to that guy like 2 times prior to that. And he came over and was like I mean, I was awesome. I like loved it because it was like, 2 human beings in this weird, crazy situation. And this guy's offering like, hey, man, I got your back if you got mine. And it was kind of a cool moment.
Yeah, we had a lot of that where I was at because I mean, like I live out in the country. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
kind of people are already there, but I'm like very keep to myself. But I starting to learn my neighbors and stuff, and yeah, no, it was well. It's funny. My best friend's actually black, so like there was a lot of funny jokes to be had when like the race war shit was getting hot because I was like, dude, you need to come to my house when the shit pops off, like just in case whoever wins, like we have one of each side, a representative,
We have a representative from both sides. Yeah, we had it's me and then Luke and then my other roommate that lives with us. He's a black guy, so and he's like, dude, you're our ticket in, man. Like I don't know who's gonna win this war, but we're in the city. The city has a lot more minorities, so like if the blacks take over this block of the neighborhood, man, you got to help us like get out like the Underground Railroad.
No, I mean we were just more like, all right, you'll be the one who checks the mail and waves at the neighbors if it's the blacks win, We'll hide inside like Anne Frank.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. All right, bring it back to messaging. There was one thing you touched on there that I think is important. I think when you're talking about messaging, I think it's important to understand who your audience is. And you kind of brought up like shaming people. And this is one thing I think is just a smart thing tactically is to realize like who are you dealing with? Because I do think whenever you're dunking on someone or shitting on someone, like I mentioned earlier, like to get like to get someone going a little bit, but then kind of keep your demeanor and then kind of just calmly be like, well, this is why. But you kind of almost sort of intentionally got them going a little bit. That's one thing just to get them going. But now, like, if you're going to full on dunk on them, I think the only time that's useful is if you have an audience. Because you're not going to, the way conflict works is you're not going to win someone over that way. Like, I think if you just do it a little bit, like I said, for the first example, you can get them a little bit and you kind of get them going and then they kind of start to realize they're being crazy and you're not. But if you're going to while out or whatever and fucking just shit on them and just dunk on them and make them look retarded, like, you need to realize you're not going to win them. You need to do the audience. And that's kind of the art of social media. Because, like, I love to fuck with people online, but it's like, I do realize, like, I'm not convincing this motherfucker. It's more just like everyone else to be like, whoa, like, so their own homies can be like, holy shit, like, yeah, I look stupid. And then they start to reconsider their opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time I will only try to dunk on is like verified people on Twitter the most. More, I don't know, people that are at least part of the cathedral or like big supporters of it in some way. Those are the ones I really try to shame the most. There are some people that have annoyed me enough to where I just want them to shut up and I want to embarrass them. But yeah, I think you're right about the audience thing, because if it's just like, I don't know, I hate it. Sometimes I'll like retweet someone and like make a point or call them a hypocrite or make fun of them in some way. Then they'll DM me and I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue with you through the DMs. This is not, I gain nothing from this. Like, so I don't know. I do agree that like if you're when it's like a public platform, I almost see Twitter as like the new Times Square. Like if there's 2 people that are having some sort of political debate out in the middle of a crowd, like you don't
hear ye, look at this faggot.
Yeah, exactly. Like if there's you want to make fun of someone or something, you gotta, like, you're not gonna win that guy over. So just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about. I think it's probably with like this whole like cancel culture, but people want you to dunk on people. Like that is what they want. They want you to like embarrass them. I don't know why. but I mean, I like it. I thrive in it. So I don't know why that is, but that seems to be what a lot of people want. I mean, Ben Shapiro got famous off of going to college campuses and just shaming liberal college students. I mean, that it seems like this weird like online culture is just like dunk on people and make them look as stupid as possible, and for your base and other people that are like your base, that you can get more of a following. Like I don't really know why why we're like that, but that seems to be the most effective way, at least for my Twitter account has been.
It works though. I mean, like, look at Tower Gang. Like, that's what Tower Gang is.
Yeah.
It's just it's just shitting on blue checks, and then like also adding in the fallacy of like, look at the numbers of people. And like, while we are smart enough to realize, hey, a certain amount of people not believing something or believing a certain thing doesn't add any credence to it, but they're not. They're like, holy shit, there's like 20 people that just made up a fucking thing to call me a fucking, big facts, big bitch tits or whatever, like we did for Seth Rogen, like shit like that. Like,
I think that's why I love the Tower Gang thing, because it's like it makes it's like the numbers, like it's like a huge numbers, even though it's like one little message, and usually it's funny or dumb, but a lot of times it goes along with the situation. And I think it works very well, because like all of us, there was like a one that we did a while ago where this journalist basically shut off her account and like locked her account for a while. And it's like, we literally just scared her away from talking to her own or to people on Twitter. And I was like, that's really, really cool. And I think they can't handle it. I think it's like they never have had this much hate online before or something, especially if it's like the lower level blue check marks, where just because they wrote for some shitty news organization and they get a check mark because they're a journalist. Like, I don't know, those ones definitely can't handle it. A lot of their tweets, they get like 4 or 5 comments, and it's usually something boring and stupid. So when you see like dick balls being like down their timeline, they're like, wait, what the fuck? And then all these memes and people shitting on them, like it's got to freak them out just at least a little bit.
It is kind of great. I feel like it's exposing how ineffectual and barren they are, essentially. I shared something recently, and I was like, here's your white pill for the day. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was like, I don't know, I'm not even going to try to remember. It was some large, like what you would think of a large thing. And like, they were sharing a post, and it was like almost a day old and had barely any reactions. And it was like, I don't know, there's more to the story than I just said. But the point is, like, the people, like, yes, they have large followings, but they don't have really, there's not really anything there. They're just hollow. They're just like, and that's kind of what I think the great thing about like Tower Gang is kind of exposing, is like, no one can kind of stop it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's really cool, because it like Twitter is almost like uncoordinated, where at least most of the time it feels that way, where someone makes a tweet and then you'll see someone like retweet it and like counter, like, clap back or whatever, and then their followers will jump in. But Tower Gang made it like almost coordinated, to where it's like, we're gonna get all these different accounts run to this page, and then just because there's so many comments on it and like all these different profiles, that a lot of them have decent followings, or some of them have pretty big followings, and it's really cool to watch. Like, we almost forced the Twitter algorithm to make this pop up on people's timeline. Like, now we are making the propaganda. Like, it's pretty cool.
No, yeah, it's dope. And it's like, and it's cool because, like I said, like I was kind of getting with like the hollowness of it, is like, we are, like, for example, like Nick Sarwark is an eternal ratio now. Like, everything he does is a ratio. Like, and it's like we immediately just jump on him and get him with some dumb shit. And it's mostly like Tower Gang. But it's like, you know what? Cool. Your existence is a ratio now. And it's like that's kind of what we are. Like, I don't know who I was talking about recently, but I was kind of like, honestly, like, I know it sounds dumb, but like, I feel like Tower Gang in a lot of ways has done more than damn near LP National has done as of late.
Well, that's for goddamn sure. That is for goddamn sure, dude. That's what blows my mind, dude. I mean, this is what honestly pissed me off the most about the Libertarian Party. It was, besides that it was shitty messaging, it was that they barely send any messages at all. I mean, we've been on lockdown for the past year for some people, so all they have is social media to look at and what's going on. And the LP will tweet something like I don't know, like once a week sometimes. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You're missing all these moments go right by. And then Tower Games turn around and literally Tower Games like multiple people a day. Like it's way better and brings way more attention and it's fun. It's not boring politics like this is the libertarian stance on COVID vaccines. Ours are like, fuck your vaccine. Like, fuck you. We're not, no, it's like bold and right to the point. Like, this is how people feel. It's not this whole way around politics. Like, I don't know. Tower Gang is just way, I think it's built, besides maybe the Mises caucus, which somehow they got kind of involved with the Tower Gang. I think they have put out some good messaging, but Tower Gang on Twitter, at least in my opinion, dude, it's like, I look at my timeline, and it might be because the people I follow, but I look at my timeline, and it's like, God damn, dude. It's like all Tower Gangs. And it's like, wait, who are these people that are Tower Gang? There's like another group, and then there's like the ladies are Tower Ganging. Like, oh, there's all these different groups, and that most of my timeline is like people getting Tower Gang left and right.
Yeah, there's multiple group chats, and there's coordination within the group chats, and it's this whole thing. Yeah, it's fucking wild. Oh,
yeah.
I know what I wanted to say. Fucking Tower Gang, though, you mentioned it like with LPMC. We sort of, I mean, it's kind of mostly Dave Smith. I'll give it probably like 60%. And the guy from LPKY may deny it, but we at Tower Gang like fucking accept some responsibility for the LPKY tweet. Because what happened was they tried to jump into Tower Gang and they had that gay shit where they're like, we're going to fucking have LP accounts get into fucking Tower Gang and blah, blah, blah. And we were immediately we're like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here, you fucking nerds. And we had some people, I remember at the time like, in the group chat, we're like, I don't know, it could be cool having some like credence of the Libertarian Party coming in. And we're like, now I remember I was like hardcore, like, fuck no, they're going to be the death of Tower Gang. Keep them the fuck out. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm like, sure, some of them are based, but like, there's not enough of them that are based to be worth a goddamn. Tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
And that was like right around that time is like right when they dropped that tweet, and I'm like, all right, well, that's kind of based.
yeah. I remember that because I can't keep up with the group chat as much as you guys.
Yeah.
I work during the day. But I get a lunch break and I'll look and like the atmosphere at one day was like, fuck these people. And then like when they made that tweet, like everyone was like, all right, that's pretty base. Like, but fuck those people.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, that made me double down. Like if I'm just bully them, they'll just be better.
You're never getting in here.
Like maybe one day you'll earn my approval, but you better do some crazy shit because it ain't this day. And even then, like we were talking in the beginning, my thing, I even said that tweet. I was like, if anything, I was like, this actually makes my point of why they're not cut out for Tower Gang because that wasn't even really that crazy. And if anything, that just proves what a bitch show fucking the LP is because it's like that wasn't that bad.
No, not at all. Like that's a thing too. And I say this sometimes, but like as a veteran, man, like you could have been way more brutal with that messaging. Like I ramp it up to 45, like fucking 100%. Like I don't care. I like people like, oh, it's not an exact analogy. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
I want it to be like this most hyperbolic thing. Yeah. I want it to be this most like hyperbolic thing because I want people to look at it and be like, oh my God, like that's an insane stance to have. But the thing is like that one was like milquetoast to the messaging that I want, and it got a shit ton of traction. And like there was people upset about it. So it's like, man, like what if we just turn that dial up a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say they just start giving out LP accounts to Tower Gang members.
Dude, with power, like what you can have 50 in a group chat, right?
It's more. We're up to like 70 in one of them.
Oh, I thought they capped out at 50 or whatever because I was like, that's all 50 states, dude. If Tower Gang can infest all the libertarian state parties, at least
you go further. It's getting high tech too. We have one dude because I meant to mention this earlier. We have one dude who got to the point because like now we're like have so much traffic going on in there. He literally created a spreadsheet to track, and he'll add a hashtag to each fucking tower. That way he can track it later. And he like literally has a spreadsheet tracking every one of them. Last week we had 79. Now we literally have metrics for this shit.
Oh my God. That is so cool. That's so cool.
Shout out to Toad. He's one of the for those of you interested, there's a podcast now. So Tower Power Hour. So Fucking Toad is one of them.
Yeah. I don't know how this all happened, dude. I was in I don't know if it was the original group chat. I don't know. I think I was in I think it was the first one when they first started tower ganging. But I wasn't really paying attention. I was just like, tell me where to add a letter. Just tell me where to add a letter. And then I guess I got kicked or the chat got destroyed or whatever it was. So then I basically begged to get back into the other one. And then I thought it was going to be the same one, but then you were in there and then Toad. And then all of a sudden they post the link for Tower Power Podcast. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? I felt like the old guy where I stopped paying attention for 3 weeks. And now there's a whole culture around the Tower Gang thing. I'm like, holy shit. This shit
blew up. Shit blew up. It's been everywhere. It's well, what happened is we were the beta. We called ourselves I think the original name of the group chat was Tower Gang Reinforcements, but we always joked and called ourselves beta. And then we called the other one, the original guys, Alpha. And but we'd always make jokes about whenever we would outdo you guys, we'd be well, we're the real fucking Alpha now. And then whenever the group chat got nuked, we were fuck, we are Alpha.
Yeah. Because I got invited to this random group, but it wasn't the same people, and I was I don't know anyone in here. I was not friends with them. I was dude, how am I? I'm my Tower Gang got destroyed, and now I'm just trying to find the closest one, and I was in a weird one. There's only 2 people I followed. I was who are these people? And I didn't even know there was another one. I was how many of these are out there right now? This is insane.
Yeah, I'd literally just kind of sort of started Twitter, and then someone, his name's Cody on there, but I'm pretty sure it's a fake name. Yeah. And he was I don't know, I think he just messaged me once. I don't know what he said, something along the lines of hey, you seem pretty based, come here. And it's and then he just threw me in there. All right, what are we doing?
Yeah, I remember him talking about that because when we were really going off one night, and he's I can't add anyone anymore. Twitter has a max account, and he's I'm just gonna start a new one. And then it was 2 days later, he's guys, I don't know what I did, but there's a lot of group chats out there. At least that's what Luke told me. And I was really? I don't think it's that. No, it's not. Because I don't know. I thought I got suspended one day because I spammed. They called me I was spamming too much. And we tower ganged a lot of people. That was the day I think we did Elizabeth Warren with smallpox blankets. And I got banned. I got banned for 24 hours or whatever. So then I laid low, and then I realized I wasn't in the group chat anymore. But yeah, Cody, I think Cody either was the original where he helped orchestrate it and was the original admin for the group chat. But I think he's been very active and still today in the Tower Gang.
Yeah, no, it took on a life of its own. We had fucking we realized when we had multiple podcasters in the fucking group, we're why don't we just start a Legion of Skank style type podcast, but for Tower Gang people, and we even developed segments that are to kind of guide conversation, and and the thing is too, it's a rotating cast, because it's a lot of us have our own other podcasts, so we can't do it all the time. I'm not there for every episode. I think I've only been for 2. There's only been 4, so I think I've been for 2 of them. But it's wow. I don't know. This got intense. You got Toad, who's one of the main guys. He's the one who's in the spreadsheet thing. He's also in every single group chat, so he's the coordination guy. We call him. He's Toad the Tower God.
My God.
Yeah, shit's getting wild. No, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, because we've already developed fucking fail safes for when they start getting you for the letters. For example, we did send nudes to AOC, but we did each letter was a sentence. So, so it's how do you stop that? Because we literally even did it. We're hey, don't be crazy. So it was I think the first one was surely you can't be serious. And then it was the next one was even I would never say such a thing. And there's
that's good.
And then the last person was show me your tits. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I've seen people try to do a Tower Gang with GIFs. It didn't work out very well though.
Yeah, I heard someone mention that, but I don't know. That sounds cringe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that idea of that. Yeah.
It would have to, I don't know. You'd have to be really creative with it for it to work, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we've gotten pretty high tech with some of them, but the send nudes ones was probably the ones that I'm this is the future.
We are evolving.
Yeah, you know, because that one too, we were like, we can't tell a fucking politician to show us her titties and not get banned. So we're like, well, we'll have to go a little bit above. And like, well, this is what we're gonna have to do later whenever they get really crazy about it. So
Did anyone get banned or for that?
No, not that I know
Wow.
of.
Even the show me your tits.
Yeah,
like especially AOC, because I feel like her followers would report that shit as fast as possible.
No, yeah. The weird thing though is I'm wondering, because I'm kind of a refugee from Facebook. I mean, I still have a presence on Facebook, sort of. I'm more just there for promotion, but Facebook is where I came from, and I really liked it. And then it just got really super gay, and they started banning everything. And I just eventually was like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. It's like literally the last straw for me was when I shared the Mussolini quote that was like, it was like fascism can more accurately be called corporatism because it's a merger of public and state or some shit like that. And I was like, this is gotta be the most goddamn ironic thing to get banned for. And so that was when I was like, yeah, I'm not really, this is not. So I moved to Twitter, and I'm wondering if what's going to happen, because what it seemed like would happen on Facebook, it would be like never my really over the line shit that would get hit. It would be some other random shit. And like, but it would be like a technically, like, say I mentioned Hitler, and like, oh, well, the algorithm picked that up. And so I'm wondering if Twitter is going to end up getting like that, though, where they're like, it's clearly some sort of algorithm where it's kind of targeted. Because like where it's like they'll get you for other shit, but it won't seem like they're getting you for like the tower type stuff or whatever, So I don't know.
Yeah, we got kicked off, or our Facebook page got kicked off Facebook, but ours got kicked off around the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. We were sharing a bunch of Kyle Rittenhouse memes, and Facebook did not appreciate that.
No.
So we just left. We just never bothered with Facebook anymore. But yeah, I think Twitter's just gonna get worse. But I think it's almost a good thing, because the worse and worse that Twitter like enforces the rules, like I don't know, ever since like just Donald Trump left, Twitter got not as fun anymore. Like just a little bit. And if more and more people they kick off, the more rules they put in, like they're just gonna make Twitter like this corporate, boring social media site, and then I think it'll force people to leave, or by their own want and own will to leave, because I think Twitter will just suck eventually.
Yeah, and the more these mainstream ones push back, the more other avenues will be created. Because, I mean, that's where you got, like, Parler, well, it got nuked. That was an example. You got MeWe. You got, I know there's all sorts of shit now. So it's like the more they clamp down, the more other shit happens. And really, MeWe got super big when fucking Facebook was clamping down around the election time. Like, and so that's when that grew like crazy. But yeah. Anyways, we're fucking rambling now, and we've kind of covered it. So let's go ahead and hit up your plugs. What you got, homie?
All right. So I'm Typo. I'm the host of Biting the Bullet. You can find our podcast pretty much anywhere on any podcatcher, but you can also go to our website, bitingthebulletpod.com, and that'll give you links to all of our social media and anywhere that you can find the podcast, and you can play it from the website too if you want. And you can follow me on Twitter at keep it. Oh my God, I'm gonna say Luke's at the real Typo is me, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got for our plugs.
Cool. I'm on the No Way Jose YouTube channel. I'm also anywhere audio podcasts are at. I'm also on the Liberty Movement YouTube and BitChute. This one probably won't be going up there. Liberty Movement's on Facebook and MeWe. If you want to hit me up for any reason, you can hit me up at thelibertymovementglobal@gmail.com. You also can, like we've mentioned, Twitter a lot, so you can hit me up at fucking I'm Galison Jose at Galison Jose on there, or you can just type in Jose Galison. It's whatever. You'll find me. It's pretty easy. It's my face. You can like I said earlier, give me fucking money so I can keep doing this. I literally just need 3 patrons, and I will break it even. And that's all I fucking need. That's all I ask for. Break even. I have no delusions of making a lot of money. I just want to not lose money. That way my wife can fucking not give me shit. So like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'd really appreciate it if you do that. Help spread the word of the show. Yeah, with that, deuces. Thanks for coming, Typo. This was really fun. We'll have to do something else some other time. So
yeah, for sure. We'll have to have you on our podcast.
All righty. Yeah, definitely. I look forward to it. All right. Done. Bye.